What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, we're going to be doing a preview here of the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos before their Thursday matchup against each other. I don't have anyone with me here today, so it's just going to be solo for me, but we're going to keep it short, sweet, to the point. I think that's about as simple as it gets. And of course, Thursday night, short week, going to Mile High City in Denver, facing this Broncos team, which both of these teams really coming into this game banged up. You know, both of these teams having their issues, to say the least. So I'll try to hit as much of this as possible. I said it in the injury update video that the players who were going to be missing for this Colts team were Tyquan Lewis, Shaquille Leonard, Julian Blackmon. That's on the defense. And, of course, losing Jonathan Taylor. That's a huge one. A bunch of guys there that are going to be definitely missed, and this team desperately needs them. And then when we go to the Denver side of things, so Russell Wilson is questionable for that game. They said that he was a limited participant the last few days because of a shoulder injury in his throwing shoulder. I believe all signs point to the fact that he's going to play. All signs lead to that. So I'm not going to anticipate him not playing. The big ones that really hurt the Denver Broncos is the fact that Javonte Williams, who we talked about last week, being hurt. That's a really tough one. You know, him being on injured reserve, tearing that ACL. You know, it's a really tough injury to come back from, and I hate the fact that Javonte Williams had to deal with that. I mean, he was the number one running back on their team, so both teams here are going to be without their best running backs. The Denver Broncos still have Melvin Gordon, who, by the way, is also questionable. He was limited in practice for the rest of this week, but all signs point toward him being ready to go on Thursday. And, of course, both teams brought in some extra help. You have the Broncos bringing in Latavius Murray, former Saints and Vikings running back, who, you know, has always been a very serviceable running back in times when teams really need him, right? And then the Colts are going to be bringing up running back Philip Lindsay, former running back of the Denver Broncos, where he got his start and really started playing very well. So Philip Lindsay definitely knows this area very well, and I definitely think it'd be interesting, nonetheless, to see what he does. And then some of the other injuries that they have, I'll say this. I mean, the Denver Broncos list of injuries goes quite a bit longer than the Colts does, but a couple guys with limited participation, Jonathan Cooper, Quinn Meinerz. You also have Billy Turner, Darius Phillips, Tyree Cleveland. Obviously, they lost Greg Dulcich. So, you know, quite a few players here, you know, that are, you know, potential guys that fill in depth roles, you know, having that questionable status. So, you know, both of these teams really coming in banged up. But in regards to the actual perception of it, both teams are most likely going to have their quarterbacks. Both teams are going to be missing their starting running backs and a couple players on defense that really could come into play. Randy Gregory is the other one that was on injury reserve. He is number 3 on the Broncos in total sacks this year. So losing that edge rush off the side really does hurt the Broncos in a big way there. But when we go into this, guys, kind of getting into the gameplay specifically, needless to say, both of these offenses are not playing very well. Ironically enough, I think the Colts are very close, if not higher in total yards per game. But in total efficiency and everything, the Colts are the 32nd most efficient offense, and the Broncos are the 26th. So both of these offenses really struggling this year at really producing big numbers. Russell Wilson this year, 980 yards. Matt Ryan has 1,100 something yards. Broncos are 30th in points scored per game, and I think the Colts are right around that too. They're 19th in total passing yards, 18th in total rushing yards. That's probably going to hurt down the line as Javonte Williams is not going to be getting the bulk of the reps. So, this offense, just like the Indianapolis Colts, just seems to really be searching for somebody to take over and start building this group a little bit. Obviously, like I said, 19th in passing, 18th in rushing, 9th in time of possession, which is really weird that they're able to do the things that they're doing with that kind of time of possession. But the one thing that the Denver Broncos do a phenomenal job at is defense. They're 5th in the NFL in points per game allowed. They're 4th in total defense. They're 5th in the passing yard game, and they're 18th in rushing, and only allowing 170 passing yards per game and 114 rushing yards, which is really weird that, something like that exists because, they're so dominant at stopping the pass, but, struggle at stopping the run. But they are 6th in the NFL in sacks, which has 11. Like I said before, Randy Gregory being out of this game is definitely going to be helpful for this Colts offensive line. But, the weapon that they do have, and I mean, ironically enough, they're tied for second with the second most sacks on the team is Draymond Jones, former Buckeye defensive tackle. He's going to still be playing. And Bradley Chubb, who has 3 sacks on the year. Bradley Chubb, who's playing very well right now. So, they still have a couple guys on that defensive line that are very, very tough to block. Bradley Chubb is going to be, I assume, is probably going to be coming off the left side against Matt Pryor all game long.
What's going on, everybody? Today, I want to talk to you about our sponsor, BetStamp. Now, I know what you're thinking. Derek, another betting app? What is so different about this one now? Well, I got to tell you guys, I'm not into online gambling a whole lot and bets online and everything, but I got to tell you, BetStamp is one of the coolest things I have ever seen in regards to betting online. The great thing about BetStamp is it allows you to see all the different odds from all different sports books and see which one provides you the best odds possible for any game or scenario you want to bet on for your pick versus some of the worst. BetStamp allows you to also buy and sell picks that you have without worrying about losing your money or having any issues with it. Believe me, it's all free. I mean, look at this, guys. You have an option for every game across all different kinds of leagues in a ton of different ways. You have baseball, you have college football, UFC, NBA, and NFL. Great for the NFL season now being here. And if I wanted to bet on this Tennessee Titans versus Buffalo Bills game, it shows me in real time what are the best odds, which sports book I'm going to get the best offer from versus some of the worst ones. Because why would you want to earn less money from PointsBet when you could be winning more from ProLine Plus? Again, a great thing that BetStamp offers you, allowing you to make more money for the same pick just with a different sports book. How easy is that? And the great thing is there's not just games. There's player props. There's game props. There's lines. There's live tracking. There's a ton of great ways to make bets and picks on BetStamp, guys. Totally a cool thing to use. I highly encourage you check it out if you're into any kind of online betting. Even if you're not, give it a check. See what you like about it, because I think I actually enjoy using it. But the best way to get an edge on online sports betting is having multiple accounts at different sports books. Be sure to hit the BetLink page, betstamp.app/onboarding. Be sure to check out the BetStamp app or online, and be sure to use the referral code JUICE, plug in your state, and you'll get access to all their affiliates and their prices once you open it up, seeing all states' lines. Be sure to check this out, guys. You won't want to miss it for the best odds on your next sports bet.
It will be very interesting to see what the Indianapolis Colts cook up to be able to avoid these issues with Matt Pryor and sometimes even Braden Smith. So look for that to be the big issue here. We know that the Colts offensive line has been struggling all season long, and I don't expect this to be any different this week because you're facing a defensive line that is very similar to how the defensive line used to be for the Titans. I wouldn't say there's a force up the middle, but then again, Bradley Chubb coming off that edge is very concerning. And then, when you're talking about the fact that you're running up the middle, I would have felt so much better about this game had Jonathan Taylor been the one taking control of the situation, because the Broncos do a much better job of blitzing off the edge. They don't have as much firepower in the middle of the field like what the Titans did against us. But I would have expected so much more from this Colts rushing attack to get back on track this week if Jonathan Taylor was the one doing it. So it's not going to be the case. Very nerve-wracking to say the least. And then when, you look at the defense that our guys have to face, when you look on offensively what the Colts have to do, some of the players they have, I mentioned Bradley Chubb, but then I don't talk about one of the most effective weapons they have on the defense, and that's Patrick Surtain. That guy is playing at an elite level right now. His play in the backfield is shutting down anyone that he wants to. He's shut down some pretty good wide receivers this year so far. Hasn't logged an interception yet, but he has been locked down. He has been pass deflections all over the place. Guys locked down. Quarterbacks having difficulty getting guys open. So, it's really going to be a challenge to see how the Colts get Michael Pittman involved in this game when Patrick Surtain has been shutting guys down all year. Who else is going to step up to provide a little bit of an edge to that, right? But then again, we also talk about some of the teams that they have faced so far. Seattle, who's just now coming on again. Houston's offense, nothing spectacular. San Francisco, they shut down San Francisco. And, they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. It was one of the few times that defense really got exposed in a lot of ways. Not necessarily in the passing department, but they did give up, 150 yards to Josh Jacobs. So, it kind of provides you with a little bit of hope that this Colts team can still get a push up front. Hopefully this is a game where whoever's starting at right guard, Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson, can avenge themselves and start making bigger blocks that we feel can actually move the ball up the middle. And it'll be also very interesting to see how this team functions going forward. Also, I will say another thing, that if Melvin Gordon were to end up playing in this game, already has 4 fumbles on the year. This Broncos team, certainly does turn the ball over a few times rushing it. Russell Wilson, only 980 yards passing, only completing 61% of his passes. And, you have and obviously the stats other than the interception category, which obviously is huge, and the fumbles on that regard. Matt Ryan is turning the ball over more, but then again, Matt Ryan's also opening things up a little more than Russell Wilson. So, at the end of the day, these are 2 offenses that, are not playing very well right now in cohesiveness. The Russell Wilson's still trying to get used to the system, I think, of what the Broncos are running. It's very odd because, you see guys like Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, 2 amazing wide receivers that could be number 2s or even number 1s on a few different teams. So it's very odd that, there hasn't been a lot more involvement with these guys. I expect at some point they'll start figuring it out. I just hope it's not this week. I do believe it's going to be a very tough challenge for both defenses, because I think both defenses struggle. I think the Colts will struggle a little bit with trying to contain Sutton and Jeudy, especially with the injuries that we have on defense. And then, of course, with the Broncos defense, of course, them getting pressure is going to be the big thing. But at the end of the day, we also have the ability to run the football. Even if it's Philip Lindsay running it, I do believe they have a chance to move the ball in the middle of the field if that offensive line were to get things going. So that's really going to be it for this one, guys. Like I said, I don't really have anybody here to really bounce ideas off, but I do hope that you guys found this informative, going over the stats and everything else. Also, by the way, Russell Wilson has been sacked 12 times this year, along with, I mean, Matt Ryan's been sacked 15 times, right? So it's very interesting. Both of these guys getting sacked at least 3 times a game. So can the Colts front seven actually get pressure on Russell Wilson? Because Russell Wilson doesn't quite seem like the normal Russell Wilson that we are acquainted to seeing from Seattle. So I'm going to give a prediction here again. Thursday night game, both teams really struggling. This one is going to be a 21-17 win for Denver. I just can't pick the Colts right now, especially with the fact that, that defensive line is really good and our offensive line's not been really good. And the way they protect against the passing offense, I think is going to, and we're already down on the rushing department right now. And with the way that their pass defense is, I'm very concerned with the Colts' inability to move the football. So I hope that changes. But right now I'm going to go 21-17 Denver. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you as always. And as always, go Colts.